Another untold story, another day with ALMazeedi.
Yes.
And Hussein Ajuz, of course.
Yes.
How are you today?
I'm good. Welcome everyone to the Untold, where we have beautiful guests as usual.
Every single day.
Every single day during Ramadan, right here on KTV2, the family channel.
Exactly.
Did you know that?
Thanks for that.
Yeah. So today we have a very unique Spanish guest.
Exactly. All the way
From
from
Spain, of
yeah,
course.
Yeah.
And migrated to Kuwait.
100%.
That's a story on its own.
I think when you dig deeper into her life, she has a long story of perhaps she hustled a lot in life.
Yeah.
And I cannot wait to hear about that. And it's also a lot about women empowerment.
Yes, and I believe she's very, very inspirational.
Yes.
So let's not waste any more time
Let's do it.
and welcome our guest.
We're back from the break and finally we can welcome our special guest today. Let's just start with Hola, ¿cómo estás?
Hola, ¿cómo estás?
Hola, ¿cómo estás? مساء الخير.
مساء النور. I like that. I like
right
that.
back, you know? There you go.
So we have Mercedes. Mercedes, can you just take me and Ahmed through a journey of your life?
Yeah.
How about that? Short story long. Or long story short.
Thank you for having me. First of all, it's a pleasure being on your show.
Thank you.
My name is Mercedes Vazquez, and as you may guess from my name, I am from Spain.
Yes, you are.
Yes.
It's a very Spanish name.
Very Spanish.
Contrary to what many may believe in,
Yeah.
it's actually a deeply rooted name that goes back to Spain's history.
Oh, wow, really?
Yeah, it
Nice.
was the name of a queen in Spain as well.
Oh, wow.
Like a queen.
Is there a definition for the name or a meaning behind the name?
Yeah, it means merciful.
Oh, that makes sense now.
Mercedes, the merciful.
Merciful.
I like that.
That's
I like
the
that.
origin,
I like
that's the meaning. So it's deeply rooted in our society.
Nice.
You will find lots of Mercedes, but I guess the international factor was not taken into consideration
Yes.
when my name was chosen
Yeah.
as Mercedes.
As Mercedes.
Life is unexpected, and I ended up living in Kuwait. So back over 7 years ago, I took a leap of faith. And I left the comfort zone of my nation, Spain, and I moved to Kuwait. I have always been very passionate on the intersection of business and technology. That's what I have fostered.
Okay.
And I have always been very much driven by innovation and curiosity. And so that sort of curiosity has enabled me to build bridges between continents.
Nice.
I have always been very active on LinkedIn, which is a platform that I
Yes.
use quite a lot. And through that platform, one day back in 2015, I got a job offer.
In where job offer, where exactly? The job
It
offer?
was in the commerce space back in 2015 in Kuwait.
Okay.
Because my journey in Spain had started in e-commerce in 2013. So back in 2015, the e-commerce market in the GCC, not even Kuwait, was not as grown as it is today, which is pretty much of an utility, let's say, rather than a commodity. And so, that's what brought me here.
Wow. So this is what brought you to Kuwait, you mean?
Yeah.
Because I was actually just gonna ask that.
Yeah.
Out of all countries in the
Yes.
world.
Why did you choose to migrate? First of all, not just Kuwait, migrate from your country. That's
Spain.
First, Spain. And then, why Kuwait?
So as I said, I did not choose it.
Leap of faith.
It chose
Leap
me.
of faith. It chose you.
Nice.
It chose me. It
Kuwait
was
chose
destiny.
Mercedes.
It was destiny. It was a leap of faith. I just gave it a try. So I thought, again, because I have a very curious mind, and I thought,
Yeah.
if I will never try, I will never know. And I also believe that opportunities
Yeah.
come to pass, not to
Yeah.
pause.
Nice.
And
nice.
so that leap of faith has taken me here.
I love
with
that.
you
It's
guys.
you have a very inspirational side, I
Yeah.
think, and there's so much that you put on the table that I want to ask. There's so many questions. I think one of the things you said is very interesting. You mentioned the term building bridges. Can you elaborate on that? What do you mean by building bridges? Seems like you have a passion for that.
Yeah. So again, because I'm driven by curiosity and I love interacting with different sort of
Yeah.
nations, perspectives, cultures.
Yeah.
Everything. I think that's what makes us grow. That's what makes us learn, and that's how we can therefore evolve. And so I believe in service. I'm driven by 2 P's, so passion and purpose. And I believe in putting my passion and purpose in the service of the greater common good. I believe that one does not have to be a government official or a foreign service official in order to exercise that service. And so I have always built bridges. First of all, in the sense of business, as strategic partnerships with businesses in different locations, from North America to South America to Europe to within the GCC, all the way to Kuwait. And one can build bridges as well, just like we're having right now. It's a conversation.
Nice.
We're building a bridge right here, my friend.
100%.
So I want to talk about, since you're in the field of women empowerment, and you've been here 7 years. What have you learned about Middle Eastern women so far? And what is the contrast between here, the women here, and the women in Spain?
Must be very different.
Yes. So let's hear it.
In my opinion.
First of all, I'm very much inspired and grateful for all the women that I have interacted with in the Middle East. The Middle East on its own has a very rich pool of diversity, right? So between cultures, between perspectives, between talents on its own. What I'm passionate about is to build those bridges that can empower women to thrive. So let me provide you with some statistics.
Okay.
According to our research by PwC at a global scale, leadership roles in the technology sector are held by 5% of women globally.
Okay.
According to another research by the World Economic Forum, companies who score above 45% in diversity have higher return on investments. So we know there is a direct correlation in between the diversity score and how women are included and society's wealth and health. So one of my favorite quotes is by Melinda French Gates, and it says, "When women empower a woman, and a community will thrive."
Nice. That sounds very
nice.
Beautiful, yeah. And
so,
another quote on the show.
Another quote.
Not from you this time.
I usually throw the quotes. You're sitting in the spotlight. I don't like it. You're sitting in the spotlight. I'll leave. Go ahead. Yeah, sorry.
And so when women thrive, society's health and wealth rise together. I have been very fortunate to engage on different sort of women empowerment and sustainable development goals by the United Nations number 5, which is gender equality actions.
I like that you're so specific with what you want. I mean, that's I mean, honestly, I don't meet many people that are very specific with their goals, and because especially the women empowerment. And so the Mercedes we're sitting with today, did you have this goal before? Or did this just come along the way? How did you get so invested into this? What made it?
I believe it's a journey. I don't think any sort of path is fixed, and I don't think it's, at least in my own personal perspective, it's supposed to be static throughout life.
Adapting to change.
Yes. Yeah. So I had realized that I have 2 different dialogues, which have made me found my voice, perhaps, right? So as an European woman who is exposed to a culture where perhaps we don't have as much representation of women from Europe, right? So that has made me develop 2 different dialogues and find my voice into that, and therefore purpose. So in terms of specific actions of women empowerment, I would like to share with you 3 things that we have been engaging on.
Feel free.
The first one is education. So I'm a firm believer on the power of education to reimagine the future, and I have been very fortunate to engage here in Kuwait in local schools and universities to empower the youth through education and to also share experiences and perspectives. Number 2, it will be mentorship and capacity building. And I have done lots of mentoring to women in technology in particular, worldwide, not only in Kuwait. And number 3, it will be a platform of scale. So I had created my own podcast.
Yes, what is it called?
Tapping into the untapped.
Yes, that. Tapping into the untapped.
That's very similar to Untold, by the way.
True. So what is that? Tell us about it.
So I had created it in 2021, and it was born out of my desire to inspire, help, and empower communities to thrive.
Overall, or are we talking about women empowerment specifically?
To increase diversity rates and women's representations in fields where women remain underrepresented globally. So, for instance, I interview diverse leaders all over the world, all the way from the US, Mexico, Ireland, Spain, UAE, of course, Kuwait, in very diverse fields, all the way from foreign service, cybersecurity, tech, government.
Nice.
NGOs, energy.
So you've actually reached out to these people to kind of like tell them, come share your story with me on my podcast, so that we can perhaps come, put all the women empowerment together, empower women a bit more across the world.
Exactly.
That's lovely. And how's it going?
So it has been heard in 13 countries so far. And it's a platform of scale that enables us to become a voice of hope and to engage in a global conversation.
And I'm sure you're seeing results.
Yes.
That's great, honestly, good to hear. I think always good to see someone doing something for a good cause. I think we're seeing this a lot on this podcast.
Yeah, that's the beauty of it, my friend.
I guess, again, as we always say, like the more you give, the more you take. And I'm sure there's a lot you're taking in return.
So, doing all of this means you have a driving force behind you. What is that driving force you have, the inspiration, the beginning, that's keeping you going, keeping you making these big advancements in women empowerment?
Especially the leap of faith that you took.
The leap of faith.
That's a huge
There's
leap of
something behind that.
Yeah,
that
it doesn't
pushed
just
you.
come normally from anyone. So what is it?
Good.
Fair.
Yeah, so again, it's two pieces. It's passion and purpose. I have always been quite relentless. I have developed resilience along the way. And I believe it's a navigation through point to point. And you learn to navigate as a sailor. Sometimes through waves, sometimes through calm waters. That's what fosters resilience and the ability to also learn along the way. So I'm a learner by nature. Last year I had studied over 40 courses and certifications.
Oh my God, when do you have the time to do that?
Yes.
Is this during COVID or outside COVID?
No, only last year.
So outside COVID?
Yeah.
So you've, I mean, wow. I think, you know what, I can't wait, because now obviously after this segment we're going to talk more about your trip to Saudi and whatnot and what you achieved over there. But I can see someone that's you're such a learner and you're an adventurer and you're a risk taker. And was this like the little Mercedes kid back when you were a child, or did this just come when you grew up, or is it coincidence, or is it the leap of faith? What is it like? What's your secret?
So it's funny that you asked me this question because last year I was invited to participate as a speaker.
Nice.
And they had called my session Courageous Leadership. That was the title. And I had started out in this way. So it was that little girl, that was me.
Yeah.
I was educated in a way that no barriers would hold me back. And thankfully, I had the opportunity to be exposed to being outside of my comfort zone. And that's how I have been able to learn, evolve, and therefore grow and hopefully impact.
Amazing.
We'll continue this conversation and learn more about your Saudi trip right after this.
We're back from the break and we can finally dig deeper into the topic we just ended with.
Yes.
So we want to know more about the trip to Saudi Arabia.
The 2022 initiative. Tell us.
That was a big thing. Take
Absolutely.
us to the journey.
Thank you. So last year I had the honor of being chosen by the Kingdom to participate in the Global Women in Leadership program.
Okay.
That it's done in partnership with Georgetown University in the United States. So the program was born during Saudi's presidency of the G20 for the G20, and it has an acceptance rate of 2.5%.
Wow. So that's an achievement. That's a big achievement. Okay, fair. So what did you do? What was it?
So I had the pleasure of representing my nation, Spain,
Nice.
and I was the only participant based in Kuwait in last year's edition. And the motto of the program is empower to impact. And
Empower to impact. That rhymes. That's good.
That's strong. That's
strong, yes.
And so we can now as a global sorority that has been formed as a community, contribute to empower our communities to advance, flourish, and thrive as our economies also thrive.
Wow, man, honestly, you're doing a lot.
A lot. And that brings me to my next question.
Yeah.
With someone as busy as you are, handling so many different roles or positions and initiatives, time management, and it's a skill set that not a lot of people know how to manage their time.
Yeah.
So could you tell us about how you time manage?
Considering the 50 courses.
The 50 courses.
40.
Yeah. 40 courses.
I
I'm so
didn't
sorry.
reach to 50
She's
yet.
gonna reach 50 by the time this episode is out, probably.
Yes. Yeah, go ahead, please.
Yeah, so I don't think there is a perfect formula, and I don't think I am an example, but I have always been a multitasker
Yeah.
by nature. So, for instance, since a very early age, I had developed the ability to multitask between different sort of actions. While I was in Spain and I was doing my master's at night, I was working in the morning. So that gave me discipline, and it gave me a sense of responsibility, and it gave me a sense of commitment, all of which are foundational values that have greatly helped me to navigate life. So there is no formula, as I have said. I just multitask. Multitask sometimes means compromising.
Nice. I think it's a build-up of events that happens in your life that built a character out of you. And suddenly the character is sitting here and saying all these stories. There's one thing you mentioned, especially about the comfort zones. Since you sound like you're someone that's, you take a lot of risks in your life. What's the definition of a comfort zone to Mercedes? Like, how do you define it? What is your comfort zone? And how have you broken it before? Perhaps.
So I think I left the comfort zone that I had over 7 years ago.
Okay.
To take that leap of faith that took me from Spain to Kuwait. I don't normally experience a lot of comfort zones.
But it's things that you perhaps break every day, I think.
I mean, you're breaking barriers every day in the field of women empowerment, but you talk about comfort zones.
If you say you want to break the comfort zones, every day you're sitting in an interview is a zone in itself, and you're breaking it. So there must be, Mercedes must have that deeply engraved belief that started 7 years ago. So that's what I'm trying to ask. What's the definition to Mercedes, what the comfort zone is?
And stepping out of it.
So I believe that we can't find responses to today's challenges by doing yesterday's methodologies.
Nice.
That's my motto.
Honestly, I love it.
That's
She's
beautiful.
got better quotes than I do. And I don't like that. No. Well done, honestly. I
You
like
should
that.
get your
Well
quotes
done.
from
Well
her for
done.
future
Well done,
episodes.
Mercedes. I'm personally learning a lot from you, I'll be honest. Thank you so much. That's I have to say that.
My honor.
Yeah. So my next question brings me to, what is your definition of multitasking, and how does someone learn about that skill? How do I become a multitasker? You know?
By doing different things simultaneously.
Simultaneously, yeah.
Again, because that all brings discipline, it brings commitment, it brings a sense of action. So, of course, we all have different purposes in life, right? Perhaps the journey starts inside out. How do you figure out what's your purpose? And so I had like to share with you how did I enter that journey. There is a framework, which is a canvas. It's a Japanese concept.
Okay.
What is it called?
It's
What is the
called
Japanese concept?
Ikigai.
Yeah, okay.
You know that?
Yeah, I know that one.
What is that?
It's basically finding your soul why and finding your core purpose in life. Right?
Interesting.
Yeah.
Right?
I knew it. Yes, I got one. All right, continue, please. The
So-
spotlight is yours, not mine.
So that's a great canvas to start to map everything out and sort of build a puzzle. I love puzzles because
Nice.
I believe industries are nowadays becoming interconnected. So you can't consider banking, finance without taking a look at ESG, environmental, social governance. You can't have a look at business without having cybersecurity into place. And so everything forms a puzzle.
Moving on, can you actually build on the concept of Ikigai? Were you always someone that's, because when you were born, I think, is there like an idol or role model? For example, if you ask me, I would say always like my dad as a person has always inspired something to me find my why. What is yours? Like, how did Mercedes find her why? Like, because you seem like you're someone very committed to your goal and your purpose. But how did that purpose be built around women empowerment? And how were you so affirmed and so confident that this is what you want? Is it someone that you have in your life that passed it on to you? Or was it, again, back to the leap of faith that happened 7 years ago?
Yeah, so back 7 years ago, perhaps my purpose wasn't as it is right now.
Yeah.
And I don't think it should be the same next year.
Oh.
So it's always at a change. This is why we ask about the comfort
Yes.
zone. So the comfort zone that you
So
had
you
last
like
year
to
changed.
challenge yourself in this scenario,
So
right?
I believe in evaluating, assessing
Yeah.
what's working, what's not working, what is the environment at a global and a local landscape.
Yeah.
And then taking actions out of that, because everything is changing so fast. The world has gone through major disruptions
Yeah.
over the last 3 years that have changed the way we communicate, the way we
Okay.
interact, the way we do business, the way that everything works basically.
And
so,
you're adapting with it.
yeah,
That's the beauty of it. I think the beauty of it that you started somewhere and you're someone that's extremely adaptable, to be honest. And I can see that, and it's very insightful to everyone.
but I have to say I have been very fortunate. I have had great mentors in life.
Yeah,
So I have great mentors, and I also like to give back and do mentoring.
of course.
And that helps because the more I gather diverse perspectives, the more I can learn.
Yeah,
So to me, that's very important to develop a holistic approach to the ecosystem as an overall.
and those mentors, are they family members? A lot of people have family members and mentors, or are they're kind of like the big celebrities, big certain women in society that were mentors?
Yeah, so women in society, locally and in different locations of the world,
Nice. Okay.
related to technology, business, and different industries. Because I believe, once again, in interacting with different industries that may not be necessarily linked to what we do,
Yes,
to expand our horizons.
and that's how we learn. I think best.
Yeah.
I think I want to go back to empowerment as a concept. What is it? What does it mean to empower?
Because that's the focus of your podcast, and
Yeah.
I'm sure when you listen to all the episodes, there's always a current theme that's rolling, right? How would you define it?
So empowerment, according to my personal view or perspective,
Yes. Yeah.
it may mean something else to someone else, right?
Yeah, we'd like to hear your take.
Yeah, empowerment to me can be the key to start thriving, and you empower for good. It comes also with a great sense of responsibility from a moral and ethical standpoint. When it comes to the podcast, yes, the underlying element may be empowering and increasing representation, but also the fact that our story is our legacy. And our story can change lives, and sometimes we don't realize the power of our own story. So therefore, I gather diverse leaders worldwide where they share their story to enable to action. So we enable to action for good
To actually make a
through
move.
a story. Yeah.
Nice, I love that, and I think this is where we share similarities. All of us three on this table, like we have
Absolutely.
the Untold stories, or your podcast is always sharing stories because every story matters.
True.
Because every story can change someone else's life.
True.
I think to kind of like, since we're reaching almost the end of the segment,
Yes.
to kind of like make it on a softer end. Mercedes being in Kuwait, how are you finding the experience being in Kuwait? Moving all the way from Spain to Kuwait, the similarities, the differences, and because obviously you're someone very adaptable. So how are you finding it?
I love Kuwait. I'm very grateful to Kuwait.
Nice. And it's been 7 years now.
It's been
Yeah.
7 years.
So that's also
You're
quite
one
some
of us
time.
now.
Yes, sort
Yes.
of. I can understand a little bit also of
Arabic?
Kuwaiti accent
That's
and different
nice.
accents.
That's
Different
good.
accents. That's good.
But you know what I love the most is that everyone has so much appreciation, respect, and
Yeah.
love for Spain. So
Yes.
we have over 800 years of shared history in the
Yes.
south of Spain that used to be Al-Andalus. And we appreciate, we respect, and we care for that heritage
Yes.
that prevails, and that very much forms a foundation, right, in the way that we integrate our values, the way we communicate. So words sometimes have the same root in Spanish as Arabic.
Nice.
Like, for example, camis, we say camisa.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're
I
very
actually didn't know
similar.
that.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
That's very, very beautiful.
Food, so you have machbush, we have paella. So
There's
Perhaps
a lot
some
of similarities in these cultures,
similarities.
and we're always having this beautiful culture exchange
yes.
whenever we're with a foreigner. But also, being in Kuwait has given you different perspectives, right?
That's right. I mean, honestly, I think your experience in Kuwait has been very insightful to people, and I think your journey on the podcast has been very empowering to other women. This is, I mean, obviously, as a man, I have to we have to thank you for stepping up, for stepping up the game and standing up for such a strong cause. A lot of the people we bring on this podcast or this show, as the Untold Stories, always focus on that fact that they're trying to empower someone else in a certain area. Yours just happens to be women empowerment in a very unique way, and we believe you as a person, you're honestly taking big steps forward, huge leaps of faith. Coming to Kuwait all the way from Spain is
a huge step.
So complete respect.
Anything you would like to leave our audience with, an advice, a message? The floor is yours.
No, thank you so much for having me. It has been an absolute honor to be with you today and to have this candid conversation.
Our pleasure.
And I mean, it's just my story, right? It may not work for someone else, but again, stories have a purpose.
If there's one thing the audience can learn from you, what would it be? One advice.
Education. Never compromise on your education.
Fair.
Invest in your education. Education is the key to reimagine the future as industries are becoming interconnected and mission critical industries as well, to reimagine the future.
Yes.
So never compromise on your education will be my message.
Keep learning.
Keep learning.
That's gonna open doors as well.
I'm sure. Just like it opened doors for you. I think this is a wrap up for today's episode. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for your time.
Ahmed and I had a beautiful time with you.
Yes.
And again, we hope to see way more special guests on this Untold Stories. Good luck to your story. Good luck to your podcast and your journey. And I guess we'll
be back.
End the segment and we'll be back.
Yatek alafia. Thank you so much for having me. It was
a
great honor.
Gracias.
That's
it.
Gracias.
We'll be back. And we're back. We're wrapping up the show. What a beautiful conversation we had with Vazquez, right?
It is. I love the comfort zone, not just the comfort zone, how she breaks the comfort zone.
Right.
And she broke it 7 years ago coming to Kuwait, and now she just keeps doing it.
She's continuously breaking barriers 100%. For women, empowering women, inspiring young 100%. Women, and she's doing something very, very, very beautiful.
100%. Yeah, absolutely. She's doing something very selfless. Again, as I keep saying, that this is a common theme we see on this show. And I love that.
Yeah.
It's just the people watching. I mean, don't get demotivated by the 40 courses in 1 year.
Get inspired by the fact that she did 40 courses.
100%. Multi-talented, and she's a multitasker, honestly.
And join us every day with brand new guests right here on the Untold. I'm ALMazeedi. I almost said your name, and you're Hussein.
We'll flip one day.
We'll see you tomorrow.